Hey guys, this is Healthy Life Designing. Today on the show, we have Treplus Communities. These are new communities that are popping up all over Ohio right now and are geared toward the baby boomers. For those who are wanting to maybe downsize in their homes, but yet live an active lifestyle, this show is just for you. And when we come back, we were gonna have Ann Arthur Cook, and she is going to be talking just about what these communities are and all of the benefits that you can get living in these communities.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds.
Hey guys, we are back. This is Healthy Life Designing with our guest, Ann Arthur Cook. Thank you so much for being here. You made a trip, quite a trip down here today.
Oh, very happy to be here. Thank you so much for inviting us.
Yeah, absolutely. And just before we really get into things, we were just talking before we started to roll, and we were talking about a rapper, Treplus, that gets confused with Treplus, and so that was a pretty funny conversation.
Right. When we were coming up with a name for the company, there are 3 partners. We're all siblings. My sister Jane, my brother Jeff, and me. And so Trey was part of the name of the 3. And so when we were Googling it, what came up was a rapper whose name was Treplus. But it also actually conveniently, since we ended up being in an area that we're really passionate about, which is 55 plus living, it also kind of refers to the third of life, that the baby boomers who are all moving into, reluctantly moving into retirement and older age are in the third of life. So that was another part of the name.
And so how did this whole idea really just take off?
Yeah. Well, our family has been in the multifamily apartment business for decades, actually, in various ways and forms. And when my sister and I, who'd been out of the business for some time, came back into the business in 2011, and we were shopping pretty much every apartment project in town. And I'd lived out of town since I graduated high school, and so we said I was looking for a place to live, and it was fascinating because there was no place I wanted to live. It was like everything. I've lived my life, I've raised my kids, I've lived in houses, and I really did want to rent, and yet there was nothing that I really wanted to rent. I didn't want to downsize my life that far, and so it wasn't totally all about me, because then we came up with this idea of what we wanted to do, which was build apartments for our age group, for 55 plus, where you didn't give up anything for living. You had your space, you had your storage, you had your attached garage, but you got to give up the maintenance. Stop taking care of a house, stop with taxes, stop with mowing the lawn and all that kind of stuff. Give up all of that so that you really did have freedom. And I travel a lot, so that was another part of it too. So but the other bit of it is having a sense of community, having people that you want to live with.
Right.
And so we so then we just started talking to a lot of people. We did a bunch of focus groups, and we did it with people like 50 to 60 and 60 to 70 years old, and found out what it is that they really wanted. And it was fascinating because even the 50-somethings knew that the next place that they moved, they didn't want any steps. They wanted to reduce their maintenance and care, and they wanted it to be kind of like the place they could actually age in place. Because this group of baby boomers that I'm solidly in are not ready to move into senior housing. We're not, I mean, senior housing, you don't use the term senior with baby boomers because we are not aging. We are aging, but we're doing it in a way on our terms. So anyway, I digress.
That's great. And all of the other things that goes into, when you're trying to downsize, when you're old, when you get older and you're married, all of your kids are grown up, they're out of the house. You've got your lawn care, you've got your trash, you still want to go exercise, but maybe you don't want to have to get in the car and, go drive 20 minutes to go find a place to do that.
Right.
And if you're retired, how great would it be to be in a community where you can have all of your amenities in one place?
Right. This group of baby boomers really wants to do it all on their own terms, and they really don't want to deal with the furnace that breaks down in the middle of the night. And they want to have they still want to be in the community where they raise their kids and where their health care is and where their friends are and all the rest of it. They just don't want all those hassles, and they want to be they actually want to be in a community too with other baby boomers where they can share their experiences, where they can share their new adventures, and where that they can dictate what it is that they are interested in and want to get involved in. The other thing is that they want to be part of being in the communities where they raise their kids and that sort of thing. Is they really want to be in walkable communities, because this is the group that really kind of took off with the whole walking craze, and they are fit and they are wanting to stay fit, as part of that, not wanting to age as gracefully as possible by staying fit and staying active and wanting to do it with other people.
Well, in these communities, they're also, you strategically place them in certain areas.
Right. These this is probably the hardest part of building these apartments, is that we want to be located in communities that are that have a strong attachment and people really dedicated to the communities. But then as far as the location goes, we want to be, we call it infill, suburban infill. We want to be near shopping, and like ideally walking distance of shopping, whether or not people choose to walk, but on walking trails and parks and in the center of things, not like tucked out on a campus where you're not part of anything. We are integral to the communities. The best is when we find a spot that's in a housing development, and frequently we'll get people that have moved back to Columbus that want to live near their kids who are in a housing area. So we've got that too, but I would say the bulk of people are looking to downsize. They really want to get out of the big family home and get into a more sensible living situation.
And can we talk about what is offered on the outside? I mean, because I came and I visited the Pickerington area, and it's so nice because it's kind of tucked away. I mean, the city's right there, but it's tucked away, and you don't feel like you're in the city.
Right.
There's no sound. It's peaceful. There's a garden.
Yeah.
You can walk everywhere.
Yeah. Yep. And that is the ideal setting. You're within a walking distance of Kroger, and yet you've got that quietness and tucked back by the creek, and you've got the walking trails there, and we've got the communities are all dog friendly because, or pet friendly, I should say, because they have to be. I mean, that's major part of people's families now. And when the kids have moved out, you can spoil this next generation. of animals, and so they're pet friendly. So it's great for walking the pets, and we've got dog run. And we've got a community garden, because that's one thing that people, I will say when I've talked to people, that's one thing that they're sometimes reluctant to give up, is the gardening. And we want to make sure that that's possible. So we put community gardens in, where there's a committee that works together to decide what to plant, and they have their own little beds too. And they actually can get involved with the Franklin Park Conservatory, who does a fabulous community garden program, and so they can make it as big or as little as they want.
That is awesome.
And so you can do a little bit of gardening right by your own place. But this is a nice community activity that we have.
When you have a little bit of nature, too,
Yes.
because when I was there,
Yes.
there was deer.
Oh,
Because there's
fabulous.
woods.
Right.
The woods are
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah, which is an issue with community gardens, as all gardeners will tell you.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's gated. It's
yes.
gated.
Yes, it is. Yes,
And
it
it's
has
right-
a fence around it.
And
yeah.
it's right next to the dog run.
And it's right next to the commons. And the commons has got a great outdoor patio area. So it's all intended to be really the commons, and that whole thing is part of the real heart of the community, where people really meet. It's an extension of their living space, where you can meet with people and yet don't have to fuss with cleaning up your place. So
Right. And speaking of cleaning up your place, since we're talking about all of the outside great benefits, what about the maintenance?
Zero maintenance. That to me would be the primary reason to rent versus owning your own place, is because you don't do any of it. I mean, really, truly, and in our communities, if the littlest thing that goes wrong, somebody will be there within the day to take care of whatever your issue is, and you don't have to take care of the outside. You don't have to take care of there's nothing you have to take care of. So it's really, to me, that is the best part about renting.
I would love that. I don't rent.
Yeah.
But I know how much I would love if I didn't have to take care of anything outdoors. And these are designed in a universal way.
Right. And it's back to what we found out from talking to people in our focus groups, that when they said they didn't want any steps in their place, I mean, you don't want to have to go downstairs to your laundry or upstairs to your bedroom. So these are all single story, but we took it a step further for aging in place, because when people try to retrofit their own homes to make them aging friendly, it's really tough, because you need to have wide doorways, and you need to have flooring that accommodates if somebody's in a wheelchair, or really just avoiding any kind of trip hazards, that sort of thing. We have all lever handles in the units, so that it makes it easy for for arthritic hands and things like that. And you can use your elbow and that sort of thing, as I always do. And the light switches are a little lower, and the plugs are a little higher. And we have there's space. There's space for, should you be in a wheelchair, and should you have issues with mobility, and the communities, the entire communities are no step. Not only is it just the units that are no step, the entire community. You can get around the community with no steps, and that is something that I would say this cohort isn't necessarily thinking that that's such a big deal, but as a lot of us have older parents, you know what a big deal that is. That having no steps is, as you age, a really important thing to have in your community.
When you even have like the countertops,
right,
made a certain way.
Right. The kitchens are built so that they've got the turning radius and the mobility, and we have different height countertops, so that we've got different to allow people to stay in their homes.
Right, and then even the showers.
The showers are roll in. And which sounds, the nice thing about universal design, though, is it's about the design. It is does not look like ADA compliant stuff. It is for the most part ADA compliant, but it is beautiful design. Like the showers are all tiled, and they are roll in with a glass wall on part of it, and they are accessible without being ugly.
And I remember also there's a special area. So if you have your pet, isn't there a special place that for when you have your pets?
Oh, well, I mean,
no.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, we do have a terrific laundry room.
Okay, that must be what I'm thinking.
But most of these pets own their homes, own their master's homes.
Right.
But yes, we've got a great laundry room that has room for storage and, I mean, it's like a mud room. It's like a mud room and laundry room.
Right, yeah, that's what I remember.
Yeah. And then all the units as well have half baths, and they've got a big master suite, gigantic closets, which for somebody downsizing, you can't have enough storage and you can't have big enough closets. And so that's a real benefit to this too. I mean, we really kind of took into consideration what it felt like to downsize and how hard that is. And the other thing that we've got that no apartments have, or few apartments have, are attached garages, which is critical for this group that are downsizing, in that they need to have their car there. But the other thing too is that they're oversized garages, so there's a good possibility for storage. We had one resident that came to us that had like a 4,000 square foot barn garage, which he knew he was giving up a lot, but even he was happy with the fact that he could have a wall with all of his tools and boxes
And be organized.
and all that kind of stuff. So yes,
You're not going to lose your goodies.
Yeah.
You're just going to organize them a little bit better.
Exactly.
Well, we're going to take a break right here, and when we come back, we're going to get into a little bit more information with Ann Arthur Cook when we come back.
The Frankie Smith Funeral Home and Crematory in Lancaster and the Johnson Smith Funeral Home in Baltimore have a long and wonderful history of serving our community. Feel free to give us a call at 740-653-0652. Stop in and see us at either of our two locations, 405 North Columbus Street in Lancaster and 207 South Main Street in Baltimore. Respect for tradition, regard for change.
Dagger Law has been part of the Lancaster community for more than 110 years. This is where we live and work. You'll see us at festivals, sporting events, and all around town. We consider our clients as friends, and we walk alongside you through challenging times. Whether you're a growing business, a changing family, facing litigation, planning your future, or dealing with land issues, we're right here. We are local. We are trusted. We are experienced. Dagger Law.
Hey guys, we are back. This is Healthy Life Designing. We are wrapping it up with Treplus Communities and Arthur Cook. We were just talking about all of the other great things that we haven't mentioned yet, and we've got. Well, for one thing, you guys just received an award.
Yes, we did. We're very excited about it. It was with the NAHB, the National Association of Home Builders. Mm-hmm. They have a 55-plus council and that gives out awards. And we got the Gold Award, Redbud Commons did in Pickerington, for the best 55-plus market rate rental apartments, and which is a big deal. I mean, it's really awesome. A big deal. And we're very excited about it, and yet we feel like we deserved it.
Well, yeah, I mean, these communities are great. I mean, they're gorgeous, and they're filling up really quickly.
Yeah. And I would say that the biggest draw of 55-plus communities, beyond the whole downsizing and making life simpler, is the sense of community and the amenities that are involved in it. And the one thing I didn't talk about before was how much goes on in this Commons building, mm-hmm. And it's got a terrific feel to it. Actually, just like the units do. Lots of natural light, really good vibe, really good feel, and it's supposed to be an extension of your living space. So we have a Wi-Fi cafe, and there are fresh, hot chocolate chip cookies there every day, and coffee machine, and we have happy hours every month. And actually, at another one of our communities, every community will have a residence committee that does all of the programming and planning. Because back to this group of baby boomers, they're not ready for senior living. They don't want somebody to tell them what they're going to be doing. They want to plan their own thing. Like we had a resident that came in and said, I really want a poker night. And we said, go for it. And so he does a poker night every Tuesday and gets a phenomenal turnout for it. But that has like snowballed into tons of activities. We've got the in addition to the Wi-Fi cafe, we've got a billiards room with liquor lockers. So that sort of promotes hanging out that way.
And you have special little lockers.
Oh, we've got little
with their
lockers.
own little
So,
individual.
Yeah, and you can have your name on it and keep whatever it
Your
is
goodies.
there. Yeah, and there's a little wet bar thing there. And but then on the flip side of it, we've got a phenomenal fitness room, and we've had trainers come in to work with people on how to use some of the equipment and training programs if they like. I mean, if it's available to them. And we've had yoga classes that's gotten a really dedicated following, which is a terrific thing. And we've got we've got a movie group that goes to the movies every few weeks, and we've got a book group. And when I say we, I really should say they, the residents. This is the programming that they've chosen to do, and it's a great space with a fireplace, and they'll have tailgate parties and watch games, and also they'll rent the space out and have a family party, or you can have a business meeting. We've got a business center, which a lot of our people are still working, and they really like the idea of having this as a meeting space.
Oh,
that's,
yeah.
So they're not doing it in their homes, and a lot of people are doing businesses from home, and so they can meet with clients there and that sort of thing, and it's also where our leasing office is, and our leasing office is really kind of like the community support center from the standpoint that people tend to move into our communities and stay there. So it's not like a lot of turnover like a typical apartment complex.
Exactly.
And so that person is really there to help support the residence committee with getting things organized and ordering things. And we do put on the happy hours and some events during the year. And then in addition to that, each one of our residents has access to a 24/7 concierge service, and they have an app on their phone, or they can phone, or they can email, and there is nothing that these people can't help with. We had a woman who was new to the area, and she needed a dog walker, and so she contacted the concierge, who gave her a handful of suggestions, and so she was able to get that sorted. And they can plan travel, and they can stock your fridge if you're coming back,
Which is amazing.
Which would, isn't that
I mean,
lovely?
if you're sick, or if you are living on your own,
right?
Right. I mean,
right. And there's basically nothing that they can't help you out with. So that's been a great resource for people to have too.
So is there anything else that comes to your mind of some of the benefits that we haven't even mentioned yet?
Do you know what the biggest benefit, which I think goes, is in the background of all of this, is community. It's having that sense of community. Some people talk about the security and that sort of thing. Well, you can't have better security than having a neighborhood of 95 units of people that the bulk of. This one couple said that they had lived in Gahanna for 20 years, and after they moved to us, they knew more people within 3 months than they knew in their 20 years in Gahanna. And so it is such a valuable thing to have
The community.
That I would say, beyond having the safe and safe living space with a good light and good vibe, that the biggest thing is still social interaction as we age. That is the biggest thing that we need.
Well, and it's crucial. I just had a conversation with a woman actually the other day, and she does events, and she's a speaker, and she talks about how communication and community gets lost, we don't have conversations with each other anymore.
With technology.
But
Absolutely.
your communities,
Yep.
it's almost as if it enhances it and it emphasizes, hey,
Yeah.
that you need community.
Absolutely.
And they really don't have a choice but to be in a community. There's so
Right.
many great things to do, and it's all right there.
Yep. And there are people that just drop in every day. They'll go to the gym, they'll get their coffee, they'll get their cookie, and they'll just hang out and talk
there
with
was
whoever's
people just
there.
hanging out there too when
No,
I stopped in.
Exactly. And the lunch and learns are terrific too because it really does give an opportunity for learning and for getting involved in the community, because that is something that people want to do too, is they really do want to stay active parts of their community if they're not still working. And so the residents committee puts together these events. Well, it's like the community garden too, that has that outreach element to it. There's so much talent among the people that have retired in our communities that it's really nice for them to find out how they can get involved in the community beyond ours. So it's a terrific asset. And that was one of the big things too when we were talking to people back in the focus group days, that they really did want to stay where their family, friends, and community was, but they really want it right there too. They really want to have it.
Oh yeah,
convenient.
convenience and
Yep.
simplicity and downsizing and all of that. I think
Yep.
it's great. If people want to know more about how they can get into one of these really great homes,
Yep.
where can they find you and more information?
Oh, excellent question. The best place to go is to trepluscommunities.com, TREPLUS communities.com.
Not the rapper.
Not the rapper. and it's Redbud Commons is the Pickerington property, and it is right off of, it's on Diley Road, right off 256, just south of 256, and please just come and visit us. I mean, Tracy would love to talk to you guys and to give you a tour. And our phone number is 1-833-LIVE-55+.
Awesome. Well, thank you so very much for making the trip and explaining all of this great information to the viewers. And that's
Great.
all we have today.
Thank you so
And
much, Darian.
Thank you. We will see you soon.